Hi everyone. I just did this once and I didn't hit record before I did. But so this is take 2. What I'm here to say is we have talked about in a few of our episodes my health and this journey to get answers, because sometimes my legs just don't work, and it has been a process. But finally I had an appointment with a neurologist, and praise God that I found a neurologist that actually was familiar with what my diagnosis is. My diagnosis is called stiff person syndrome, and it happens to 1 in a million. Leave that to me. Not shocked at all that I have something that's 1 in a million. It is the same disease that Celine Dion suffers from, so that's also a blessing, because her recent diagnosis has brought this to the spotlight. So there's more research and more information being done all the time on it. The symptoms can vary severely from person to person, so it will be very important that when I working with my neurologist in the Mayo Clinic and things like that, to come up with a plan. It is an autoimmune disease and there isn't a cure for it, but there are lots of different meds and plans that can help me manage and live my life. We do not think that I have an aggressive kind, because for a very long time it has stayed in my back. My back gets very stiff, and my legs get weak, and I have spasms. And so the spasms is the root of the problem. So when your body's constantly spasming, then it results in tightness, and then that tightness can result in numbness. So that is where we're at. As far as emotionally, I think of that scene in The Chosen, and I have watched it several times throughout this whole journey, really, because that scene in The Chosen, and I'm going to, I took notes because I knew I'm a little nervous. I'm trying my best not to cry through this, because then it gets all snotty and gross, right? So that scene in The Chosen where James comes to Jesus and he says, I see you healing all these people. James is a disciple, so he's following Jesus. And he says, I see you healing all these people. And James, in The Chosen, because in the Bible it doesn't specifically say that James is disabled, but in The Chosen he is. So in The Chosen he has a cane that he's walking with, okay? And he says, I'm seeing you heal all these people, and why haven't you healed me? And Jesus says, I haven't because I trust you. And goes on to say, I could heal you and you'd have a good story, but there's dozens that can tell that story. But your story, if I don't, is that you praise God despite not being healed yourself. And you can show people that you are living here for eternity and for what I've called you to do, and you're not living here for today. Eternity will not have suffering. The Father and I don't trust many with this. Are you fast? No. But does the Father care if you are fast? No. You are going to do more for me than most have ever dreamed of. And the reason that really touches me is because, as you know from my podcast, I have lots of stories of things that are suffering stories. And the only thing that I can hold on to is that God has trusted me with these things, to use these things to help others, and that my reward is going to be in eternity, and I'm holding on to that. I have a long road ahead of me, a long journey ahead of me. Brian has a long journey ahead of him. We are very confident that mine's not aggressive. We're confident that I'll be able to get some meds to at least live somewhat of a decent life. I I'm excited that I get a handicap sticker. Handicap parking for me. But that's just, I'm just trying to be a little funny. And I would appreciate all your prayers. I'm going to document my journey through this. Right now, I am on a type of Valium that they prescribe for this. I take it 3 times a day. My body will adjust to it, so I won't be like this loopy, drugged up person all the time. I am taking B12. The Mayo Clinic is coming next week to do some of my labs, and those will go back to the Mayo Clinic. The medicine is already helping me. I feel more flexible than I have in months. Like I said to Brian, I said, I didn't even realize how much pain I was living with 24/7. So I already feel some relief, and I'm amazed at what I was dealing with all the time. So there are some great positive things. And like I said, I'm totally confident that God's going to get me through this. This isn't the end. God has not gotten Brian and I through what we've been through just for us to have to put that to the side for this. I do not believe that at all. I just believe that this is another part of my testimony, just like with what Jesus told James in The Chosen. And we're going to share that clip with you probably tomorrow in our podcast if you have not seen that clip, because it's a very powerful clip, and it really relates to me and speaks to me right now. If you really want to see that clip right now, go ahead and Google it, and I'm sure you can find it. I'm going to end with this. 1 Corinthians 1:27. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise, and God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. This verse shows of those considered weak by worldly standards, they have power and wisdom and godly standards. And that's what I'm holding on to. And I'm holding on for Krista to be a James in this story. And I praise God through all of it. As crazy as it sounds, I want to thank God for trusting me to be so strong to handle all these things that have happened to me in my life. To trust me that I'm strong enough to handle it, and that I will use them to reach others, because I sure do have a lot of things that I can use to reach others. And instead of feeling sorry for myself, instead of cowering in a corner and turning my back on God or crying out to God, why me, God? Why have I had all this suffering in my life? I know why. Because He chose me to be strong. He chose me to be a very strong witness. And that's what I plan on doing. I'm going to, like I said, I will update you guys through this, because it's a rare thing too. And if it can reach somebody else that is suffering with stiff person syndrome, then that's great too. So they can start following my journey as well. Because like I said, it's rare, and it's hard to find things, and it's hard to connect with others with it. So that's what I have for now. I appreciate your prayers, and all of that. Keep following, keep listening. Love you guys. Bye.